Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're taking a look at the new Marvel Legends Bonebreaker Build-A-Figure wave, Vulcan. This is yet another Summers brother in this wave, following Havok, aka Alex Summers. And, this is Gabe Summers, his real name. He was basically removed from his mother's womb by the Kree when he was, still in utero. Got thrown in some sort of age acceleration tank and, was turned into a weapon, basically. He briefly joined up with the X-Men for a time, but his more chaotic, villainous nature really got the better of him, and now he's more of an enemy to them. So, he's kind of the unfortunate lost brother of the Summers family. That being said, if you've seen my reviews before, you know how this goes. We're going to take a look at Vulcan's packaging, then we'll open it up. We'll get a quick look at his Build-A-Figure pieces, and then we'll see Vulcan himself. We'll check out his posability, we'll check out his accessories, though they are few in number. Naturally, we'll be doing plenty of group shots and comparisons today, and then at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. So Vulcan comes in your standard Marvel Legends packaging. You get your Bonebreaker call-out up here. You get an X-Men symbol on the top, and then the 90s X-Men logo right here at the bottom. You get his name underneath that. And then we get our big plastic window where you can see Vulcan off to the right, looking very big and intimidating. He comes packaged with some closed-fisted hands, but he also has alternative open hands. And then his Build-A-Figure pieces are the torso area for Bonebreaker, as well as, I think it's an optional pair of hands, right? Or maybe those are the only hands, I'm not sure. Can't see down below far enough. So, comes with a pretty sizable chunk of the character. On this side, we get some really nice artwork of Vulcan looking very angry and having his energy powers just kind of emanating from his eyes and hands and everything. On the back, we get a clearer picture of that, so you can see more of his body. We get his name, and then we get some flavor text, and that reads, Vulcan sets his sights on total galactic conquest. Standing in his way are the X-Men, the Inhumans, the Kree, and his brother Havok. So he pretty much has made enemies of everyone at this point. So, yeah, not a very likable guy. Down here on the bottom, we get our render of the Bonebreaker Build-A-Figure, and then we get our cross-sells, which include Wolverine, Siren, Havok, Vulcan here, Maggot, Darwin, and Seibertron. So a lot of these are kind of latter-day X-Men or latter-day incarnations. The real big exception here is Sabretooth, who's actually modeled after his oldest appearance, dating all the way back to an old Iron Fist comic. And that's something I touched on during his review, so if you haven't seen that yet, I would check it out. And yeah, that's everything to see on the packaging. It looks very cool. I like the colors. They really help it stand out. Very bright, very loud colors, but not, obnoxiously so. So now, let's go ahead and open this up. Now we see our toy out of the package, and first we'll take a look at this Bonebreaker piece. So this is, again, his entire, upper torso area, ending at the neck stump, including the arms. The arms, they work very well. Tolerances are pretty nice on them. Got the double elbows, got the universal wrists, and he comes with two, gun-holding hands and then two closed fists, so you can choose which hand he holds his weapon in. The gun-holding hands actually hinge this way, which is getting increasingly common with any sort of weapon-holding hands. He does have an ab crunch, which luckily these straps don't get in the way of. You can also see he's got this collar that sits very loosely on there. Luckily, once you pop the head on, this will stay, but without it, just falls right off. So, pretty nice looking. He's got these, loose bracelet pieces too that, you just be mindful when you're popping the hands off, you don't lose them. And then these are the closed fists, and, pretty standard closed-fisted hands. So, nice little piece. But now let's take a look at Vulcan himself. So, we pull him forward. He seems to be on a different path than his brother Havok. Looks a bit taller, more muscular. I know I've seen it before, but I'm not sure exactly, which characters use this one. But he's got the ball joint and hinge combo on the neck. Got universal shoulders, butterfly joints. He's got bicep swivel. And he has double bend elbows. And unfortunately on my copy, his right elbow's upper joint is very loose. Doesn't really support a lot of weight, which luckily he doesn't have any accessories to hold in that case. He's got universal wrists. He's got a nice ab crunch, full waist swivel. And then he has universal hips, thigh swivel, double bend knees. They're a little bit tighter than I'd like, but not too bad. It's got a boot swivel here, and then your standard ankle articulation. The boots are made of an interesting looking plastic. They have a very pearly quality to them. I hope that doesn't mean they're gonna suffer from GPS, down the road because they somewhat resemble the types of plastics that used to become brittle. I hope that's not the case here, but, give it a few years and we'll find out for sure. One thing I've noticed on my copy is he has these little spots on his hair. You can see it here on the top, a little bit right here, a little bit kind of over the sideburn area, where it's got it's almost like whitish or grayish powdering, and I don't know. I don't think that's supposed to be there. I think just some stuff got on my copy. It may or may not be removable. Or either that or he's supposed to be going gray at this point. I don't know. Is he graying in the comics? Not really sure. I don't think the artwork really hinted at that, but more than likely it's just a QC problem. Alright, now let's take a look at his alternate hands. So he has one that's like a grasping kind of hand where he's reaching out towards something, and then one that's just a more standard open hand. So we can swap out the fists if we want to. Give a more dramatic pose. Something a little less robotic, So these are, also universals. Hinge in and out, palm. And now you can get him in maybe a more action-oriented pose, something like this. Looking like he's ready to, maybe take on his brothers or really the whole X-Men, because he is a very powerful, I don't know if you'd call him a mutant. I guess he's a mutant, right? I don't think the Kree gave him powers, they just unlocked his powers. That could be wrong. I mean, he does have energy-based powers like his brother, so probably a mutant. So yeah, looks pretty cool. Nothing crazy with the accessories like Havok has. He's just got some alternate hands. Would have been nice if he had some sort of energy flash or something, but oh well, they didn't choose to do that. Here's a shot of Vulcan with his wave mate and former teammate Darwin. Before, Vulcan kind of broke bad, he was on the X-Men and had his own little dedicated team. Unfortunately, I don't believe there are any figures of the other two teammates, which were Petra and Sway, who died saving these two. But these two characters have a very special relationship because not only were they teammates for a period of time, but Darwin actually transformed himself into pure energy and allowed himself to be absorbed in Vulcan's body to save his life, which gave Vulcan a huge power-up, but also made Darwin just kind of this inert energy source until he was finally removed from Vulcan's body and became himself again. So, I haven't read enough of the modern comics to know what Darwin's feelings are on this. If he, hates Vulcan or what, but I am hoping that now that we have these two, we can eventually get the other two members of the team just to round everything out. And now here's a not-so-friendly group shot of Vulcan with his brother Havok, aka Alex. Now, I do wish the story of the Summers brothers had, kind of concluded a little more pleasantly, but unfortunately Vulcan, turned out to be the bad egg in the group, and he and Havok have clashed multiple times, both nearly killing each other. And even in the Krakoa saga, after it seemed Vulcan might finally be cured and, become a better man, inevitably he just devolved back into his old, terrible self and was pretty much exiled from the household, so yeah, as it stands right now, there's still no, peace in this family, no love lost between them. Maybe someday, who knows, but as far as right now, they're pretty bitter enemies. And this completes our look at the new Marvel Legends Vulcan. I do think this is a very nice looking figure. I think it's got a really nice head sculpt. I think the colors on him are phenomenal, especially that nice pearly gold used on the boots and the belt, which hopefully won't get brittle over time, though I kind of have my doubts there. But I also think it's kind of inexcusable that this guy comes with no energy effects at all. And, this is kind of becoming a real running thing with modern Legends toys. When I say modern, obviously, pretty new collector, but, as of, really recent, Multiverse of Madness wave and, upward. I mean, they really seem to be pulling back on the accessories. Now, he does come with the alternate hands, which is good. More than, some characters. But he is an energy-based mutant. His whole thing is firing off yellow energy. And there's really no hint that he can do that aside from maybe the glowing eyes. And, I feel like that's a huge, huge letdown. I mean, we just saw with my last review, we did his brother Havok, and Havok is loaded with energy effects. And while it's true that Havok, his Build-A-Figure pieces may not be as substantial as Vulcan's, I mean, Vulcan just comes with a torso, a small torso, and an extra pair of hands. It's not some massive piece, right? We're not talking like a Sugar Man, torso or anything. I don't see any reason why he couldn't get at least something to show off his powers. So I do have to say I am very disappointed in that regard, where, he doesn't have anything to really show you what he does. He's just a guy in a suit. So it could definitely be better. Now, I don't think that ruins the toy per se. This is, as far as I know, our first Vulcan figure, and he does look nice, and it is very good to round out, the Summers trio, the Summers brothers trio anyway. But I don't know. I feel he could have been a lot more, so I can really only personally recommend this if you just really want a Vulcan figure, and you don't mind the fact that you're maybe not quite getting your money's worth on this one. So, yeah, that's just how I feel about this guy. Perhaps you feel differently. Maybe you do really want this. Maybe, you really just don't care about the energy effects. You just really need a Vulcan toy. Or maybe you don't want this. Maybe you're kind of on the same boat where either you think he's just not a good value. Maybe you just don't have interest in the character, right? He's not the most well-known X-Men character out there. Any and all feedback, as always, is welcome in the comments section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this look at the brand new Marvel Legends Bonebreaker Build-A-Figure Wave Vulcan. And with all that said, I will see you next time.